everyone, and welcome to episode 46 of TeachTechPlay. I'm Eleni Kyritsis, and I'm the host and founder of TeachTechPlay. Tonight we've got a fantastic show with some educators from around Australia and New Zealand. Some familiar faces and also some new faces. Before I shoot over to them to introduce themselves, I'd just like to congratulate our Play King for last month, Trav Gulta. He shared STEM Carnival. So make sure you check that out if you haven't seen it already, and you will see the great learning taking place at his school in Queensland. Now, I know last month I announced some sad news for a lot of people that there is no Teach Tech Play conference this year, but Steve is finally made a return to the show, and we're excited to have him here tonight because both he and I have something very exciting we'll share with you at the end of tonight's show. So make sure you stick around till the end to find out what's happening for Teach Tech Play this year. So without further ado, I'll throw it over to our wonderful presenters for tonight's show to introduce themselves and tell us where they're from and what they do. So Phil, do you want to tell us where you're from and what you do?
Hi, my name is Phil Carew. I'm the Head of Digital Technologies and E-Learning at Toorak College in Mount Eliza. And looking forward to being back on the show. Thanks, guys.
Perfect. Thank you, Phil. And you're a wonderful presenter at last year's conference. So it's great to have you on the show again to share some fantastic learning happening. Next up, I'll have Kathleen. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Eleni. My name's Kathleen Morris, and I'm a primary school teacher from Geelong in Australia. And I'm currently on family leave, just doing a little bit of part-time teaching. And I also work with EduBlogs to help teachers learn about the wonderful world of blogging. And it's great to be back for the second time on the show.
Perfect. Great to have you back. Next, I'll get Donna, if you want to introduce yourself. I had the pleasure of working with you last week, so it's great to have you on the show.
Yeah, hi Eleni, great to catch up with you again. So I'm Donna Golightly and am a primary trained teacher from New Zealand, and at the moment I'm working with a company called Using Technology Better. So we work in Australia and New Zealand with schools, helping them to do just that, use their technology better. So
Perfect.
Great to be here.
Thanks, Donna, and we love Using Technology Better at Teach Tech Play. We have a good partnership with them, and a lot of people know Mike and the team as well. So great to have you join us because I know your team just continues to grow. So it's great to have you on here. And next up, we have got Megan, and you're returning again, which is fantastic.
Hey there, my name is Megan. I am a learning delivery specialist for Microsoft, and I teach teachers how to make the most of our technology in their classrooms.
Perfect. And we love having you here with all the exciting things that you have to share. And last but not least, I forgot to throw it over to Steve to say hello to everyone.
Oh, no, where I figure in the order here. Hello, everybody. My name's Steve Brophy, and like Phil, I'm the Director of Digital Technologies and E-Learning at Ivanhoe Grammar School. So it's good to be back on the show. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Now, I'm just going to throw up very quickly the voting slide for everyone to make sure that you vote for your favourite presenter on tonight's show. So here it is, and you'll all be able to see that now. So make sure you vote for your favourite presenter. I know that everyone likes to take out the crown for Play King or Play Queen, though it might be a queen this month, which is great. We've got a very big female presence. Okay, let's get the show started. So first up, we have got, let me just find my notes. We have got first up Phil, and Phil will be sharing with us social innovation. So Phil, let me know when you're ready and I will start the timer.
Cool, yeah, I will share the screen. How's that? Is that sharing for you?
Yep, perfect.
Oh, good. All right. Great. So this is a Year 7 technology assessment that my team and I created. So it's all about social innovation and digital technology. So what we do is we teach the students about social innovation and what that is, and the students have to create a solution to a problem in society. So they create that solution using a range of different technology tools. So as we go through, the students use a range of these different tools. So we use Scratch, our Mindstorms, Minecraft, and a bit of Vive VR as well. So what we do is we kind of have, 2 lessons, maybe 3 lessons on each of the tools. And then at the end, the students create their solution with their favorite tool. So we used to run a similar assessment task for a term, and it was more focused on Scratch. And then we just found especially at year 7, we want our students to have a bit more exposure. So they leave year 7 with more skills. So they leave with an understanding of each of these tools, but then they can kind of refine the skills with one of the tools, which works really well. So we go through what is social innovation. Students write their own definition as well. We look at this really good framework here. So this talks about connecting with your community, actions that you'll take, identifying the problem, and then collaborating as well. So this is a nice little visual for the students. But really the assessment task is to create an innovative solution to an issue in society using social innovation, technology, design thinking, and creativity, all in the space of 6 weeks. So it's a pretty big task for year 7s, but it works quite well. So over these 6 weeks, we have our students, we introduce them to different tools, and then they get to work on solving their problem. So at the start, we have an incursion with Chris Hart from Unstuck Learning Design. So I would strongly recommend contacting Chris if you haven't already, but he ran a 2-hour workshop with our year 7s looking at design thinking and social innovation. So this is just a really great introduction to where we were going. When I was putting these slides together, I put up the assessment brief, and I do apologise because I talk a little bit about design thinking, but this is quite offensive. I'm not sure what was going on there with the black background and white text, but we'll change that for next term. So that is the brief. If you would like to do a screenshot or pause that and have a look at those points, but that just really has the week overview. And then on the right, just the questions to consider as well. So we get the students to think, how could they use Minecraft to make a prototype for their solution? And that's a really big part of this assessment is the students are making prototypes. So they're not actually making the solution. That would be really cool, but they're making a prototype for how they may solve the issue. So this is just a really great video, a TED Talk to have a look at if you are starting a bit of social innovation work with your students. This is an activity that works really well. We ask the students just in small groups to look at issues with traditional wheelchair design. So we actually borrow the wheelchair from our health services department, and then we bring that in and we get our students to look at the class, how they can move around the space in the wheelchair, and then they have a think about how they can change that. So that's just a little bit of an introduction. So we look at victim mobility, where you can see this wheelchair was designed to raise and go higher, so you could be at the same eye level, which is pretty powerful. So we have different ideas here for our students. So should Australia ban the sale and production of bottled water? So when we look at social innovation, we have our students write an actual statement. So there's a whole range of examples here. Some students will use the examples and some will come up with their own, which works quite well. Then they have their time where they'll do a few lessons on Scratch, a few lessons on Minecraft, and then they have to create that prototype. So this is just really quickly an example of a student. Beautiful slide design here. So she had to do some research. So all students had to conduct 3 pieces of research. So that had to be infographic, an article, and a YouTube video. So they had to annotate their research. Then they had to write their statement. So this student was looking at childhood obesity. She explored Minecraft, so I had to annotate how she explored Minecraft. Then she explored Scratch, and then she came up with her solution. So she made a game here. So at the start of the game, she had to talk about the issues with obesity, and then we went into a little maze game where you received points if you ate an apple and lost points if you ate a donut. So really basic introduction to social innovation, but a really great assessment task that the students really do engage with, and yeah, it does help introduce them to a range of tech. So yeah, thank you.
Fantastic, Phil. Great to see great learning happening, especially in the secondary sector. I know sometimes that innovation feel, as soon as they get into high school, a lot of schools are aware of it, but they always think, academics come first. And I know you guys are doing amazing things down there. So great to see a new project that you're doing. I'm sure that there will be questions for you. So who has a question for Phil?
Phil, did you find you had students who did more than was expected, like working on it at home and maybe continuing on after it finished and so on?
Yeah, great question, Kathleen. We did have, I think at the end of it, I thought there were some students that, went and made the full, 3-level game or, wanted to come down at lunchtime to use the VR. And then some students that, unfortunately may do just the, happens as we have a range. But yeah, I think I found more students that were, engaged and wanting to do a little bit more than that. So like we even had students wanting to do tools. I gave, the 4 prescribed tools, and then students were like, I want to make an app, or I want to design a product using CAD. So they were even thinking outside of the square as well. But,
yeah, that's awesome.
Before I've prescribed, but that's maybe next term it will be 6. So
yeah,
that's
awesome.
Thanks.
Phil, so I love social innovation. We're actually doing something very similar, but with Year 9 students. One of the challenges we always have is when the problem is too vague and too broad. What have you used to help narrow it down with kids?
Yeah, I think I probably did the worst thing you can do when thinking about a topic is going, and here are some I prepared earlier, which, helps, but can sometimes go, the students are all picking those areas. I found it helps to put the students in similar groups. So say students were looking at health. So some students looked at mental health, some students looked at obesity. Then I was able to put them all together, not necessarily being a group, but they were able to help each other in that health field, I guess. That helped. But yeah, sometimes they do how we can have like life on Mars, or, huge, maybe not that huge actually. But it is tricky. I have to, meet with them and say, what can we do here? And then they usually will make a game with awareness about that topic. So they might not actually do a whole, Minecraft world. They might just create awareness.
And for that, I know if anyone wants to do something similar in primary, something that I've always done is I've connected it to the UN Sustainable Goals. And I found that's worked really well in students then, being able to have that framework and something to sort of guide them in what it is they want to achieve for that bigger picture, which is sometimes something, and that's got a million resources for kids to go to as well. So I found that's been useful for innovation and that, and also bringing that sustainability into it too. So
it's a great visual as well, where it has all the UN points, right?
Yeah. Any other questions for Phil? No? Okay. Cool. Kathleen, you're up next, and you'll be sharing with us the student blogging challenge. So let me know when you are ready and I will start the timer.
Thank you. I'll just get that up. Can you see it okay?
Yep, perfect.
Great. No, not doing anything. There we go. So I'm going to be sharing about the student blogging challenge, which is great timing because it's just started. So I hope you'll all consider joining us because it's a lot of fun. The student blogging challenge is held every March and October, and it goes for 10 weeks. And just to give a little bit of background on the challenge, we'll go back to 2008. And here I am with my grade 3 students. And this was the year that I first started blogging with them. And I quickly discovered that it's something I really love because they can, write for an authentic audience and learn about being a responsible member of an online community and learn about digital citizenship and all those sorts of things. And yes, those are my 4 PCs. I found that photo from about 10 years ago that we used for our classroom blogging program. But the thing I loved most about blogging was being able to make those global connections and for students to, I guess, flatten those classroom walls and see what's out there. Now, at the same time, a Tasmanian teacher, Sue Wyatt, she wanted to connect her classes with others around the world. So she set up the Student Blogging Challenge, and it started as a small project and it's really grown since then. So last year, Sue stepped down from running the challenge and that's become my role. And now Sue's leading the commenting team. So in our last challenge that started last October, we had students from 28 countries taking part from 6 different continents, which made it really interesting. And to take part in the challenge, you can use any blogging platform as long as it's public, because obviously people need to be able to visit you. So that could be Edublogs or Campus Press or Blogger, KidBlog, Seesaw, whatever you use. It's aimed for students about ages 8 to 16, and you can join in as a class and do the activities together. All the students can do the activities individually and publish them on their own blog. And it's a free project and it's really flexible too. So some classes who join us don't do it every single week, or they might modify the task to fit what's happening in their curriculum as well. So the way it works is that there's a series of 10 weekly tasks, and each task is published on the Student Blogging Challenge blog on a Sunday, and there's a different topic each week. So we start off with the blogging basics in the first few weeks. So students will learn about things like making an avatar or writing their about page for their blog. Some of the topics are about digital citizenship, for example, using images online and where to find images and so on. Some of the topics are about culture and collaboration. Some of these are quite light-hearted, comparing funny differences in your life, or perhaps about celebrations as well.
1 minute.
Thanks. And some of the topics are fun too. And our most popular topic last year was all about emojis. So one of the great things about the Student Blogging Challenge too is we have a team of commenters who are volunteers who work in education, a lot of teachers, and a few past challenge participants as well. So they comment on the students' blogs and provide that authentic audience, which is so powerful. So the challenge began on March 3rd, so this is perfect timing, but you can join up late if you want to, and you can check it all out on the Student Blogging Challenge website, and you'll be able to join as a class or as students. So hopefully you'll join us.
Perfect. Thank you. You had 20 seconds to spare.
Nice.
Really, really good timing. Now, this is something that I have actually done in the past. So when I first started teaching way back the whole 7.5 years ago, I came across your blog, funny enough, and set up my class blog. And it was great, but I felt that we didn't really have much of an audience. And for me, I wanted parents to come and look, and I felt they were just watching. They weren't really commenting or anything. So as soon as we got involved in that student challenge on our blog, that really expanded, and the kids were getting comments from everywhere. And, sometimes you need those authentic comments and seeing what others are doing as well to really make it worthwhile. So I highly recommend, if, you've set blogging as your challenge this year, to get your students involved and be part of this blogging challenge. 7 years down the track, you'll be like me, running your own web show. Exactly right. What can come from it? So I highly recommend you do it, and it's a great community of educators and so good for your students to embed great learning through it as well. Were there any other questions for Kathleen?
Kathleen, in terms of moderation, how do you set up the blog? Do you have it so that the kids moderate and you talk through appropriate comments, or is it open? What sort of structures do you have from a classroom point of view?
Well, with EduBlogs, or if you're in Victoria, you might be using Global 2, which the department pays for. There's a program called My Class. So the teacher can opt to, if they want to, they can moderate all the students' posts and comments. And I've found this can be good to get started. So either when you're just starting out with your students, or if your students are quite young as well, like if, grade 2 or 3 or something, you might want to keep moderating. But for even older students, it can be good to sort of keep an eye on things and moderate for them. And then once they, prove they're responsible, then they can do it themselves. Yeah, but with the Student Blogging Challenge, the commenters all have to be approved to be a commenter, so it takes out that risk factor of random people coming along, but that's good too.
Yes, definitely. Were there any other questions? No, easy. Thanks, Kathleen. If you just want to stop sharing your screen. Perfect. And next up is myself, and I'll be sharing how to use dot and dash in the classroom. So let me get the timer ready, share my screen. All right, and I'm just going to go present. Please tell me if you can't see it. And I can, all good, Steve, you can see my screen? Someone tell me. I'm assuming so.
Yep,
Good.
all good.
Perfect, thanks. All righty. So I'm going to share with you how you can use dot and dash in the classroom, but I'm mainly going to be focusing on dash tonight, okay? So these are 2 robots that you can have, and they're primarily used in the junior classrooms. So dash is the bigger robot that moves on wheels, and dot can talk flash and talks to dash as well. So with Dot and Dash, there are a range of apps that you can use. So there is the Go app where you, as it says Go, it's like you're driving a remote control car, so there's no coding involved, which can be useful for different activities, and I'll share that in a second. There's the Wonder app where there are leveled quests where the kids can work through that, and that's really good to develop their coding skills, especially for teachers who don't feel confident in coding themselves. This is like self-tutorials that the kids can work through. There's a Blockly app where they use block code, and there's also the Path app where kids can draw, and there's also quests built in there as well. Now, these are just some ways I've used Dash in our classroom. So setting up a grid with numbers, and then in our junior classrooms, I just use Kinder Squares. They're cheap, easy, and also masking tape, and just make the grid up. And then I have the students with Dash, and I'll say a number, and they have to move Dash to that number for number recognition. I've also done it where I've rolled 2 dice, and they've got to add it up and move Dash to the correct response. So just these sort of fun maths games, I think, is always engaging and fun for students. Also coordinates, so anything with the grid reference, you can just make up your grid and students can move Dash to different points. I've shared something similar with B-Bots on the show before, so exactly the same, you can move Dash along that. You can also have students create their own mazes. So here I've just got some butcher's paper roll from Officeworks. I think it's like $2, and they just create a maze and then have to use the block code to code Dash through, and that was at a code club at lunchtime. Here I've got letters, so, you know, exactly the same, put all Kinder Squares out, and you can say, you know, find the letter that the word starts with truck, so then they have to move Dash to the letter T. Or you can even just do what letter makes the sound S, and then they have to move it to the S, or D for dog, or, you know, you can use this for many different ways in the junior classroom. Now, with our year ones at my school at the end of last year, they went on an excursion to our local road, Mailing Road, and they were looking at our community. So they were doing this community unit as well as looking at different shops that we need in communities to sustain and life and everything else. So when they returned back, we actually recreated the street. So we just used muesli bar boxes and biscuit boxes, and they rebuilt the shops, and then we drew Mailing Road. So we spoke about the way we walked, and we had Dash code and go there together. Then what we did, the next step was I gave students this sheet where they drew on the maze their path that they wanted Dash to follow, and then they had to cut out the coding blocks and place them. Now, the reason I do this is I've only got one Dash and Dot robot, which is absolutely fine in the classroom, and I found this worked absolutely perfectly. So they put all their code there, and they had to measure and write their code first. Then as a class, we sat around and we tested it out, and I had the iPad projected on the screen, and this allowed for the whole class to see. And we discussed, you know, if something went wrong, what do we need to improve that, and what can we do from that? So this activity that I have set up where the students use this template, so whether you have a Dash or not, you don't even need one. I have uploaded this onto my TeachTechPlay teachers page. So you can add your coding blocks here, and the students draw their maze. And this also gets them understanding block coding, and there are all the coding blocks for you. So that is available for teachers to use. I hope that's given some teachers a snapshot of ways you can use Dash. I know I didn't really touch on Dot. I've only got 4 minutes, but you know, some ideas there, and you don't actually need every student to need a Dot and Dash robot. And I think that's really important when you are teaching students about code. Not everyone has to have one. You can teach code without robots as well. And that activity there, they can just cut the blocks out and you can discuss it or show them. That's me. Any questions?
Yeah, I've got one. So you've referenced the use of them in the primary classroom, but my own kid's high school has some Dash and Dots. So I'm wondering if you've got any ideas or seen something for the older years.
Well, you can pretty much do anything. It's got all that basic coding built in. You can also draw and do everything like that. So coordinates, I know our year 6s, they're doing Cartesian planes, which, you know, any sort of graphing, you can put masking tape on the ground, any type of block coding. You can also put add-ons onto Dash. So, you can put Lego and little things where they have to build things, and Dash can push things and move things. So they can end up building little mazes that Dash has to program and move things through. So, I've only ever seen them used in the junior primary primarily. But in saying that, I'm using B-bots in grade 6 on Monday, and we're doing a giant battleship game. So, you just have to be creative in what you're doing. Yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, cool.
Anything else? Nope. Easy. That's easy. We'll move on then. Donna, you are up next, and you'll be sharing with us diagrams in Google Drawings with Google Docs. So let me know when you are ready, and I will start the timer.
Okay, so we will just share this. So I'm feeling a little bit outnumbered here with a Google example. But as I got your email yesterday and been teaching all day today, it was like, what can I do quickly?
No stress. You can use anything you want. That's what we love about TeachTechPlay. We don't just focus on one thing. We look at everything technology across schools. So let me know when you're ready, and I'll start the timer.
Okay, so yep, I'm ready. Okay, so what I'm going to share is one of the newer updates in Google Drawing, which I have to say is one of my go-to tools. So it now has a diagram embedded in it. So what better way than to show how to use Google Drawings than inside a Google Drawing? So what we have here is a Google Drawing with a step through of how to find our Google Drawing. So when we go to Insert now, you'll notice under the Insert panel, there is actually a diagram option. And when you click on the diagram option, it brings up this panel, and you can choose whatever diagram option you want. So then when you drop that in, you can choose. Are you getting a feedback from me, or is that just me?
No, just you.
Okay. So then it will drop into your Google Drawing here. And I've put a tip that it's a really good idea to select them all and then group them, so that your diagram will move as one. And then what can we do? So when we drop it in, here is that same diagram dropped into a Google Drawing with an activity for students. So we used it with Goldilocks and the 3 Bears. So we had a process diagram here with 3 stages: in the beginning, next, finally. And what's really cool about it is that structure's already there for the students, so they don't have to set that structure up. And then what they've done is put what happened in the beginning, what happened next, and then what happened at the end. And one of the really cool things about Google Drawings is that you get the guidelines to center. So when you're putting things in, it's going to even it up for the kids. They can use word art for the titles. If they're searching for images, it's a safe search. They've already got that Creative Commons license, so they're using diagrams that they're legally allowed to take from the internet. They can crop, mask them, shape them. They can use objects as text boxes. And the really awesome thing with that Google Drawing is that you can just pull a corner out and extend the drawing space if the kids need more space. But then the magic really happens when they complete that diagram. They've dropped it into their Google Drawing. They've done their structure. They've put their thinking into it. You can go into a Google Doc, and you can put that live drawing inside your Google Doc. And any changes that you make in the drawing, you can just update in the Google Doc. So here's your step through on how to do it. But I've got one here all set up. So I've gone into a Google Doc, I've gone Insert, Drawing, and so you can pull it in from your Google Drive now. So when you do that, it's just going to pull up all of your drawings. Say, which one do you want to drop in? I'll just cancel it because I've dropped this one here in. But if I come back into my drawing, if I come back into my book review drawing here, if I put a change in here, so I could maybe put in here, let's just say
1 minute.
Goldilocks woke up. And if I just enter that, and if I come back into here, you'll notice that update has popped up. And if I click on update in my Google Doc, then there it is. That update has popped in. So you can see like there's just endless ways that you could use this with your students. So they can go back to that Google Drawing, go back to that diagram, add another section in, put some different information in, update some data, and it's going to come into their Google Doc here. So what I've done here is here's the Google Doc, and there's just heaps of ways that you can put that in. So all of these instructions are all loaded into a Google drawing, which I actually thought I had open, but I've actually closed. And let me just go on and see if I can quickly open it in the time. Here it is, how to. So if I open up that, all of these Google drawings have been dropped into one Google Doc, and I made about 4 or 5 changes as I was doing this, and all I had to do was click update in here, and all the instructions are in here. So here we are. I'm in an Airbnb in Taupo at the moment, so it's a bit slow loading. But you can see, so here's all the drawings, all in one document, all done, and I can just update that easily without having to go back and redo things. So that's Google Diagrams and Google Drawings and Google Docs.
Perfect. Thank you. And I know that those features are amazing, and especially in junior classes, I've seen a lot of people use the Google Drawings for students to move images into different places. So now, once they've done that, they can apply their knowledge even further and drop that into directly into a Google Doc, which makes it really, really handy for students to transfer that learning and not have everything move around like if they were doing it directly in the doc.
Yeah,
really
Google Drawings has so many tools in it, so they can do all of that thinking and all that layout, all of those templates, go back and change it, and it's nice and easy, simple. Cool.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. Were there any questions or comments for Donna?
Yeah,
Donna,
sorry, go Kathleen. Sorry, go.
Just a quick question. I'm not sure if you said this. Does the same also apply with like Google Slides? Can you drop a drawing in there and so on?
I haven't actually gone into slides to see, but yeah, you can. You've got drawings. You haven't got drawings, but you've got diagrams. So in a Google slide, that diagram feature works the same in Google Slides as what it does in Google Drawings. Yeah.
But yeah, it's not actually in that. I just had Google Slides open, and you doesn't have the drawing.
No, because drawings
you can build it all in there.
Yeah, slides will do almost the same things as drawings. They're except you can have multiple pages in a slide, which you can't have in a drawing, but you can't extend the size of a slide like you can in a drawing. So that's probably the main difference between the two of them.
Yes.
Perfect. Phil, you had a question?
I was just going to say, I love that new update. And I think sometimes, staff may say, or students may say, I can't do this in Google Doc. And if I was using something else, I could do it. And I say, if you use Google Drawings, it can do all of that. So I think that works quite well. And that new update, Donna, I love. And I loved your very much Google inception with a diagram into a doc, into a drawing. Blew my mind.
Cool. Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions? No, we're all good. Next up, we have Steve. Welcome back, Steve. Are you going to blow our minds tonight?
Always. All right. This is where technology is. It might help if you've charged it before you start. So I guess I want to start by talking about how we bring in technology that we've used since the beginning of time, and we continue to use it. And that's actually our breath. So when you have a kid that's really worked themselves up, the first thing you do is you tell them to take breaths and slow down. And it enables us, it's one of the only elements we have to be able to control our own autonomic nervous system. Now, telling kids to breathe and just take it easy doesn't actually work all that well. So what I have here is a transmitter. So this transmitter is from a company, I'm just going to share my screen, called Champions of the Shenga. So basically, the Champions of the Shenga is a video card game that you play against other players, and this little transmitter is connected to your shirt like this and to your ear like so. And then using an iPhone app, and this is where I'm going to test out the technology, basically what's going to happen is I'm going to play against another player. So it might be that I can have a breath off against somebody in the classroom, but usually it's just built into the game. And the way that you, very similar to like Pokemon and those sorts of things, is you have superpowers. And the way that your superpower is unlocked is by how much you can control your breath. And so I've used this with Year 9 students right down to Grade 1 students. And because they're so drawn into the gamified element of it, they really get deeply hooked into their breathing. And what it's teaching them is that you can state change, like you can control your capacity to regulate stress levels by breathing. And you do so in a way that you don't actually know that you're doing it. So I'm now going to try to attempt to do this live. So this is where it all goes wrong. And I'm just going to share my screen just here. And hopefully we have all good luck. Okay. So at the moment, I'm connected and I'm going to play against somebody. So I'm going to find a duel. And basically, I have a 2-player game. And as I breathe in, I get more attack points. And if I find that my heart rate goes up and down, I'll be defeated by the mad general. Okay, so we basically will start. You start by breathing. And as I'm ready, then I can tap on and play. So as you notice now, it's starting to go live. And I teach the kids about breathing. So this is where, as a teacher, I would be telling them about breathing in through their nose and out through the nose, because as you breathe in through your nose, you inhale more oxygen. And then when I'm ready, then I can tap on the screen here and try to use my superpower. So as you can see, I'm doing a live test here. It is quite complicated.
One minute.
I'm going to try and beat him. And then I'll throw my power up there like that. I've thrown it into the middle and I'm trying to defeat him. So he will come back with another certain point. And then what it's doing, and I've used this with a range of kids, is it explains something that we take for granted. So whenever I'm working with staff members and I'm finding that they're really worked up, often you find that they're shallow breathing. So it's very shallow in their body. This is something that you can do with teachers as a bit of a fun game, but it also is just an indicator that if you are stressed, it is the same since you were 5 to when you're 55. And breathing is the superpower. And this technology is part of, I came across it by looking at the Trans Technology 200, which is literally a list of 200 really innovative companies across the world that are working in the biomedical space. So they're working in spaces like well-being, understanding how do we help kids and adults survive in an era where people are really rapidly stressed. So this is Champions of the Shenga. You do need to have the transmitter to play, but you still can do something similar in your class just by introducing breathwork. That's me done. Perfect.
Now I've got a question for you. Cost?
Cost, the transmitter is about $100, $120. I'll have to double check the price, but I've got just one. And I find that the way that I would use it is I would look at the kids who really have trouble regulating their emotions, and especially coming in from the yards. And that's the type of student that they tend to be kids who are on the spectrum, who already play these games. So all of a sudden you've got somebody who's having trouble regulating their emotion. They're playing a game which is helping them regulate their emotion. And over time, they actually get better at breathing and at being able to control themselves. So that's where I start. So you could probably, if you are looking to explore it, start with your individual needs coordinators or kids who work with kids who are maybe having some trouble regulating their emotions.
Perfect. And the app part, is that free?
Yep.
Yeah, perfect. Were there any other questions? You're off the hook, Steve.
Oh, no, I was just thinking, do you know, is it founded on any particular research? Like, is that how it all sort of came about?
So the research of the transmitter is huge. So around this space about regulating and breath work, and then it's combined with, and that research is rigorous. So understanding that your vagal tone and vagus nerve breathing in and out, that's so extensively used. But it's the whole thing is how do you take that, which is breathe in through your nose, to kids and to go, oh, I don't want to do that. Like I'm trying to teach my 4-year-old to do that. He goes, it's a heavy breathing. And so the gamified element is probably early stages, but what I love about it is this sort of technology is going to help solve some wicked problems. So in terms of the science, this is rigorous. The game, it's probably more edutainment, but it's still something that's engaging for kids.
Cool, thanks.
Thanks, Steve. Never seen that before. So, yeah, we might need to get you on the show more often.
That's all I got.
That's all you got. All righty. Thanks, Steve. And last but not least, we have Megan. And Megan, you'll be sharing with us, correct me if I'm wrong, computer science with Microsoft MakeCode.
That's the one.
Perfect. Easy. Let me know when you are ready and we will start the timer.
Cool. It's just going to share my screen and you let me know when you can see it, and then we can start straight away. It does tell me my internet connection is unstable, so this should be fun. I'm far worse than an Airbnb in my own house.
That's me as well tonight. Perfect. We can see it.
So, MakeCode is a piece of Microsoft software that's been around for a while now, but I actually want to share a new addition to it a little bit later on. So I've got a link here, bit.ly/MakeCode resources. You'll be able to access all the things that I showcased tonight. So just sort of wanted to I guess identify this is Microsoft's coding platform. So all of different ones have already been mentioned tonight. Something like Scratch. So it's our block-based coding platform. We've worked with different partners that create hardware that allow us to code for that. You can also use it for Minecraft, and we now have a new one called Arcade as well. So let's have a look at some of the I guess benefits of using MakeCode. So because it is browser-based, it works always, everywhere, not limited to device or anything like that. It's quite inclusive, so with all Microsoft technologies, we attempt to make them as inclusive as possible. So there's lots of different options for students who might be dyslexic or use screen readers to help them use the platform. As with all things coding and computational thinking, it is that progression path to real-world skills and working in the jobs of the future. The platform, like I said, allows our partners who make different hardware to build for that particular platform. So these are the 7 different ways that you can code with MakeCode. So Microbit, a lot of people are familiar with, obviously Minecraft, a new one called Arcade, and then we've got the Circuit Playground Express, Lego Mindstorms. I'm pretty sure there's quite a few people familiar with that one as well. And then Q, I've also used that one before. It's very similar to the Dash and Dot. And then ChubiChip, that's actually the only one I've never used before. So it's, basically a board, and you can code that to do all sorts of different things. So getting girls engaged with STEM is always a challenge. We actually did some research over in the UK with the Microbit and the MakeCode experience. And after that experience, they said that 70% increase in girls said they would definitely look to engage with computer science as a subject. So getting kids involved is important, but the challenge for a lot of teachers is building their skills. So we've actually made 2 sets of curriculum for using MakeCode with the Microbit. If you can get access to those Microbits, they are about $20 each, or you get really packaged up bundles for teachers and all that sort of stuff. Or if you are using Minecraft Education Edition, you can also access a 14-week curriculum for using MakeCode with Minecraft. So check out both of those. Some comprehensive curriculum links in there. So I already sort of covered some of this stuff. No hardware software required. It is web-based. If you ever used Touch Develop before and you're wondering where it went, this is what has replaced it. And I think one of the real benefits of it, and this is helpful, whether you're in primary school or high school, is that you've got the ability to progress kids from block-based coding to JavaScript using MakeCode, which is really nice. And then, I already talked about those ones too. I'm repeating myself. So without further ado, I'm quickly going to jump into the actual...
Sorry, you got 30 seconds. That's my fault. But I'll give you a bit more time. I was so engaged.
Fine. I've got a clock going next to me. It's all good. I knew that. I'm like, yeah, she's giving me more time. All right. So this is the MakeCode interface, and I can just quickly click... actually, I didn't want to click new project. I wanted to click the tutorial. So let's quickly go back and see if I can do my pizza coding in time. But as you can see on that screen, I've got that on the start, and I can choose from sprites and all that sort of thing. So go back. There's about 5 different tutorials. So there's Chase the Pizza. And like all good tutorials, it takes you through step by step what you need to do. So come on, start up. internet gods. And that'll probably pop up and then we'll be able to finish off. But you'll notice up the top in using MakeCode, that's where you can switch from block-based to Java-based. And I've seen primary kids start doing that. So MakeCode, absolutely great tool for all students of all shapes and sizes. All right, that one will do. I'm not going to rely on my internet.
All good, all good. I just want to say, I was wondering what happened to Touch Develop, and that makes so much sense now because I've been using MakeCode for microbits a little bit and setting some challenges with the girls at my school around as I mentioned earlier, the sustainable UN sustainable goals. So they, we did a big microbit OneNote challenge last year, which was really, really exciting. And this year they've actually already come and seen me and they're like, what are we doing with the microbits this year? So I might have to explore that a little bit more, but to see that it also has a feature with Minecraft, that's our goal this term. So you've set me on my homework. So thank you.
I think that's why it's changed. That's why we went from Touch Develop to MakeCode, so that we could use that platform for so many other tools.
Yeah, really awesome. And I know you've got the Edu meetups, the Microsoft Edu meetups up, and I'll be presenting at the Melbourne one. So
excellent. So yeah, there's lots of Edu meets happening around the country. The Sydney one's already full. We have 100 bajillion people coming to that one. But the other ones still have some spots available. So if you head to aka.ms/MS Edu meets, you can click on your home or closest town and come along to one of those events. They're lots of fun and lots of fabulous teachers presenting.
And they're free, aren't they, as well, just for our viewers?
100%.
Yeah, so these are wonderful for anyone starting out or advanced who just want to interact with others in how to use Microsoft tools in the classroom. Really great and free for teachers to go out and see. So it's a great day. In saying that as well, I know that Phil, where are you? You have something you need to share as well. So we're flicking from Microsoft to Google because we love all options here.
Yes,
We're all
I love it. I love it. I just went, beautiful segue. We have where is this? Let me close this down. This is just the Mornington Peninsula Google Educator Group that I have been running for the last year now. This is just our 4th event. It's just in the afternoon at Surratt College, Thursday the 7th. So next Thursday, we usually have a few teachers. So this time we've got feedback and assessment with Docs and Classroom with Nick from Kanyang, and then Autocrat Google Sheets with Steve from Pearstow, and then Pear Deck and Google Slides with Blythe from Rosebud. So Eleni has presented there once before, which was amazing. Thank you very much. So I'll be getting you back this year as a little payback for this this session.
No problem. I was going to come next week, but I'm actually running a day at Independent Schools Victoria next Thursday. So
I'll sign you up for term 2.
Okay, hopefully I'm not already doing something that day, but I'll be there. If I haven't got anything, I'm there.
I'm texting you tonight. This is the bit.ly link. GEG, Mornington Peninsula 4. It would be great to see some of you there. Thank you.
Perfect. And in talking about all this wonderful PD, that's like the perfect segue for us, Steve. Before we get to that, I'm just going to share my screen and show everyone to vote for their favourite presenter tonight. I think there was a great use of a lot of different tools today that, people can go, great ideas, great things to transform your teaching and learning. Now, in saying that, a lot of people, we've been getting inundated with emails in regards to TeachTechPlay conference this year. We're just trying to find a bit of a life balance. Steve is enjoying me not harassing him 24/7 at this time of year. And I'm enjoying having weekends. It's quite nice. But yes, so there is no TeachTechPlay conference this year, and we apologise if anyone is very disappointed. We just found that after 3 years, we just needed to find a bit of work-life balance. So I'm currently 3 days in a school and 2 days I do consulting, and Steve is also full-time still in a school. But we have come up with a plan to redesign professional learning. So I'm going to throw over to you, Steve, because you do this much better than me, and you can explain, and then we can direct them to the website. And
Sure. So this is going to put me on the spot right here. So I guess one of the key things that we all know about conferences is that you have 1 or 2 days of inspiration and you go back to your classroom with with a bag full of tricks, And then you're faced with the challenge of how do I, impact change in my school? How do I bring this in when potentially I'm fighting against a culture that may not be conducive to innovation? And so Eleni and I and Corey have been riffing on how do we take the wonderful learning from TeachTechPlay and help people along the way so that it's specific to them. So what we are going to announce tonight is called TeachTechPlay Learn, which is going to start with a one-day immersive where we have a group of people come together, and that's designed to spark questions, but it's not designed around coming and receiving information. It's really about schools coming in saying, look, we've launched a new STEM program, or we're looking to develop this particular program to deal with this. And then they come together with some community. And then from that, there is 6 online sessions with Eleni and myself based around coaching people through change, helping and holding people to account, helping develop strategy, helping people come up with, and also having a community to sort of bounce around and generate ideas. And then that would culminate in people having an immersion where they come and showcase the work that they did. So one of the key things that we wanted to do is to impact change is start with the inspiration, as we know how to do with TeachTechPlay, but then help people start in their classrooms, in their schools. And this can be somebody who's in a classroom, it can be somebody who has a leadership role in school, and really it's all about helping those people implement change, because change is not something that happens at a conference. Change happens over time. And so this for us is our version of doing it. It's going to be really intimate because we want to make sure that the groups get as much time from us, as much coaching, as support and mentorship as possible. So it starts with immersion, 6 weeks of online support, and then finishes with a showcase where you actually step up and show what your school has created. So that's TeachTechPlay Learn.
Yes, thank you, Steve. You summed it up perfectly. So yes, we just wanted to sort of help the community. And I know a lot of people always love coming along and learning, especially even from TeachTechPlay episodes every month. But once they go back to their school, they get stuck, they get, whether it's just within their year level or the whole school picture, you can just do change within your class. And we are there to help, whether it's just class or whole school as well. So we just want to know some expression of interest if this is something people also are interested in doing. So let us know. We're open to feedback as well, aren't we, Steve? And we're just trying to think ways to support you guys in our community. And as we weren't doing a conference and heaps of people were asking us, we thought, what's something we can do that can still support the community in that way? So I'm just going to share my screen again, and you will see here the link. So it's just called TeachTechPlay Learn. And if you also go to the TeachTechPlay website, you'll see now we have a little tab there for TeachTechPlay Learn. And in here, we explain a little bit, and there is just a form there for you to fill in for your expression of interest. And that will just help us to know whether this is worth doing. And with registering, then you get more info once we are ready to launch for next term. So hopefully that helps everyone. That's what this community is about. We're not just about, spruiking one product. We're about helping teachers across the world, really, in improving teaching and learning for our students. So please reach out if you have any questions. Also, if you would like to present on the show, please reach out to me. We're always looking for wonderful presenters. And don't forget to vote for your Play King or Queen for this month. And huge thank you to all our presenters as well. So we'll see you next month for our April episode. And that's going to be our first April episode in like 3 years. I'm not going to know what to do with myself because we never have an April one because it's always a conference. So very exciting to have an episode brought to you in April. And you can always catch up on all our episodes at any time. So make sure you share them. If you saw something that will be useful to someone else, make sure you do share it with them. So from me and the team, we like to say a huge thank you to everyone and hope you have a good night. And we'll have more information next month on TeachTechPlay Learn. Anything else, Steve? Nope. All good. Thanks, guys. Bye.